Hello, hello, hello. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Hey there. What's up, guys? This is Mr. Dean, and I just wanted to do a quick, hopefully quick video. You know how it typically goes with me whenever I'm talking about things. I want to do a quick video talking about the newly revealed skate design for Streets of Rage 4. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into it.
Beat 'em up, chats.
As you guys know, on Twitter, Ben Ficret made a post showing off a new art piece. Something of a gift for the fans for the 5th anniversary of Street of Rage 4. And he tagged me in it. I did do the actual design for Skate, and he did the art. It was a little collaboration project. Now, there's some sentiments that have kind of popped up about the design. Very understandable sentiments, excitement, disappointment, among other things. Just to clear it up, though, this isn't for DLC. There's not anything coming up for Street of Rage 4 or anything like that. Blizzard Cube is currently working on Shinobi, and Guard Crush and Dotemu are working on Absalom. Dotemu has a ton of other projects that they are currently working on. Of course, as you know, I have a bunch of projects of my own. And, this video is sponsored. No, I'm kidding. My game, Deadly Metropolis, I dropped the trailer very recently for it. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. And yeah, I really hope we get a demo out soon, as well as the Kickstarter for that project. But I've been working on some other things as well. I've got a little thing that I wanted to work on for Street Rage 4's anniversary. Of course, I'm going to be late as usual. That's just seemed to be my style. Even with this concept piece that we did, we were a couple days late. So happy belated birthday to Streets of Rage 4. I just want to talk to you about my thought process behind the design. So let's go ahead and have a look at this real quick. All right, so let's go over some of the thought process behind the design here. That was on my brain when I approached Ben Ficret to do this. So firstly, going over like the stuff that you would see on Skate, you know, the things that you don't want to leave out. Definitely wanted to keep the hat. I had seen some like fan-made designs that kind of left the hat out. I don't think that's something you should leave out with Skate. Skate, to keep it recognizable, you want to keep the hat, and I believe the chain here you see around his neck, and of course the skate. We'll get into that in a moment, right? But yeah. So the hat facing forward was actually Ben's idea. The tweak that he made to that, I actually had the hat facing backward like he did in the original. I think it was a better call on Ben's part because you know, having the hat facing forward, I think, kind of shows his age. Like, you know, he's older. He's Street Rage 4 is about 10 years in the future from Street Rage 3, so Skate would probably be somewhere in his 20s right now. You know, so having the hat face forward, you know, kind of shows that he aged up a bit. You see, he has like the small dreadlocks and stuff like that. I thought that would be a cool thing to have a little more hair. We never really see what his hair looks like in the classic games. He does have a little hair kind of poking out of his hat, so we know that the hair he doesn't have short hair or anything like that. So I kind of wanted to expand on that by giving him little dreadlocks. Of course, the design I had, you know, the hat was backwards and the dreads were kind of poking out of the. It was a snapback, so it would be poking out of the hole of the back. Here, this one's a little bit better to give a little bit more mystery to it. It looks really great on the sprite. I would say. By the way, I was not expecting the sprite, right? I wasn't expecting the sprite, or even the little sprite of him moving here. When I originally approached Ben about the design, I thought maybe I was going to get like a sketch or something like the one here that I have framed up here. Um, that's what I thought I was gonna get, and he kind of went all in on this. He clearly had fun doing this, and I'm really happy to have approached him and talked with him about this. A little fun note about this design as well is that this is kind of a full circle moment for me because uh, I had something similar to this design when I was working on Streets of Rage Mania, which was my project. It was going to be a pitch that I wanted to do to Sega. I wanted to kind of do like a pixel art, um, an upscaled pixel art remake of the classic trilogy. Uh, Funny enough, the same year I was going to make the pitch, put together the pitch for the project, Street Rage 4 got announced. So this is kind of full circle moment for me, just kind of seeing this design realized in sprite form, not only just in the art, but in sprite form of how it would have looked in the game, which I think is really cool. So getting back to his design, you notice this little emblem here, WOC. It's also on the hat. It's on the jersey and stuff. For those of you that don't know what WOC is, it stands for Wood Oak City. This is the fictional city that Streets of Rage has taken place in throughout the entire series. I kind of wanted to push the idea, story-wise, that Skate went off to college, and he's been kind of living his life and doing athletic things. I gave him the elbow band here and then the arm wrap here to kind of give him more of an athletic thing. I kind of felt that was a little bit more fitting. I know there's been designs out there that kind of want to lean on him joining the force and stuff like that because Skate's always been excited to kind of help the team since Streets Rage 2, and I understand the sentiment behind that. But I thought, with Adam returning and, he being an SIF agent and, Cherry kind of being the more rebellious, kind of wanted to be a vigilante of her own and, going into these seedy areas and stuff like that to play her shows and stuff like that. I kind of figured to kind of give contrast to these two characters. Skate would probably be a little bit more further removed. He's out just living his life now. He helped the team. He had 10 years of peace. Axel goes off into the woods and he's doing his training thing, probably wrestling with bears or some crazy stuff like that. I think Blaze rejoined the force, ended up leaving the force again after getting in a fight with the commissioner and stuff like that. I figured, with Skate, it'd be kind of cool to have him just kind of like, yeah, he went off and he's living his life and he's enjoying his life and stuff like that. And the story that I had behind him rejoining the team is that he wasn't around for the events of Street Rage 4, but he did hear some rumblings about how Max disappeared. Max in this game had been captured by the twins and made into this fighting slave or something. So Skate hears about that. He comes back to Wood Oak. He's a little late to the party. But the idea that I had in mind, if there were to ever be a DLC or anything like that, was that he's back and he's going to be training with the team in this post-game content with Mr. X Nightmare. So yeah, the WC kind of references that. If there were like a backside of the design, I would have had maybe Hunter across the back. His last name Hunter, and the number 92 would be his number. Just a little reference to his debut, which was in Street Rage 2, released back in 1992. I think that would have been a cool thing to a little reference. I like my references. What can I tell you, right? I also, so for the chain here, I think that it was a better call to keep it simple. Um, that was another call that had been made for that. I did want to put like a little wolf emblem or something on the chain. For those of you that don't know the reference to that, Adam in the beta version of Street Rage 2, or Street Rage, sorry, not the Street Rage 2, beta version of Street Rage, his name's Wolf, and Axel's name was Hawk, and Blaze was still Blaze. She didn't get a cool name or anything like that. So I wanted to give like a little emblem for that. Adam has a reference to that with his move Howl Fang. It's a reference to the wolf thing, and I just kind of wanted to keep it a motif amongst the hunters that they're wolves. For anybody thinking that maybe it was maybe it was inspired by City of the Wolves or Mark of the Wolves or anything like that. No, it's always just been a thing that I always wanted to try to make a reference when it came down to the hunters. I don't know if Cherry has a reference to wolves or anything like that, but Adam does. So yeah, the team that he would have been playing for, if I didn't put Hunter on the back of the jersey, it probably would have been Wolves, right? The Wood Oak City Wolves. I know I'm not really helping the allegations of referencing Fatal Fury here, but I can't help it. Sorry. He also has the headphones. I figured the headphones would be a nice little touch. It's just a small detail to just kind of show that he has like little hobbies and stuff like that. Also, honestly, and this is just me being straightforward, it is a reference to Jet Set Radio. Sorry, Jet Set Radio is one of my favorite games. And I figured this would probably be a very, very, very subtle nod to Jet Set Radio without getting into any, weird copyright thing or something, So yeah, I gave him some headphones. The jersey too, like this is I kept it yellow with black trim, to kind of keep it in line with the motif he had before. I know in Shoot Your Rage 3 he had the black undershirt, but I really felt like a lot of the characters in the game already are pretty much covered up. Adam has the long sleeve shirt rolled up. Axel's got two shirts on. Blaze got the jacket, and Cherry kind of has that thing going on with the yellow shirt, the ripped yellow shirt and stuff like that. So I kind of figured, give Skate his classic Street Race 2 tank top would be a better callback. But also, maybe a couple of the fans like that he shows off the goods here, showing off the muscles here. I think kind of figured that'd be a good way to show off that he's athletic and all that good stuff going on. So decided to just kind of go closer to the Street Rage 2 design. Also, Street Rage 4 takes a lot of cues from Street Rage 2, so I think it's fitting to do that. Of course, his gloves are the same as they always been. Nice little red motorcycle looking gloves and stuff like that. There's also the suspenders. This reference is twofold. I kind of have a thing for the suspender things with designs. You'll probably notice that in Deadly Metropolis with my grappler character, he had suspenders. This was also kind of influenced by Alex from Street Fighter 3. I know he wears overalls, but just the hanging, the thing that hangs and just kind of flows around and stuff in his animations, stuff like that. I really wanted to have something, but I didn't want to give him a shirt around the waist or anything like that. That would have been too similar to Axel, and probably just I'm thinking from the standpoint of animation in, how will we design his moves and stuff like that. Have something subtle like this that's hanging down and it's kind of flowing, whatever. It's just a nice little detail to have. But also, Adam has suspenders as well, and he's actually wearing them, so this would have been a nice little tie-in to that as well. I gave him some joggers. Originally, I thought about giving him shorts, but this is kind of the thing with like the character being aged up a bit. I feel like the shorts are a little kid-like, so I kind of decided to just kind of give them the joggers instead, and keep the same color scheme going. It's not white like it was in the original, but it's grayish, and I think that works out. I did have in my sketches that I did of the design before I sent it to Ben, I did have an alt palette. You'll probably see that on the tweet. I'll link it in the description. I had an alt palette that's a callback to the Streets of Rage 3 colors. Now, if I were like to do, I think I'm probably gonna do like a pixel art sprite. I want to do a pixel art sprite of this, honestly. And when I do that, I'm going to utilize that palette as an alt palette. Probably do his other alts from battle mode and stuff like that too. But in that alt, I gave him the white joggers. I think it was a nice callback. I think. Yeah. Let's get into like the big thing though, the elephant in the room here, right? The hover boots, right? I don't know how everybody feels about it, but the hover boots was kind of a good middle ground, I think, for Skate. I think people kind of misunderstood what Ben was saying when he was saying he couldn't really design it without making them cringe. They didn't really want to go with the rollerblade thing because rollerblades are kind of out. They're not really popular now. Even if you look at a game like Bomber Cyberpunk, which is like a total callback to the Jet Set Radio games. I know the designer said that's not the case, but come on, man. Like, bro, we see it. Even in that game, like they replaced the skates with like these parkour shoes, right? So originally, my thought process. Oh, and nice the bandage on the face. I wanted to put that on there because I think it's cool. Might be a little reference to a particular game that was on the Dreamcast, Shenmue. Yeah, sorry. I was looking at that. I was going at that. But originally, I wanted to give him a skateboard, actually, because I thought it would have fit the motive of him being a skater, right? It fits the motive of him aging up a bit. You kind of move on from rollerblades and you start skateboarding, But, getting back into animation and gameplay stuff and whatnot, whenever you're making a design like this, even if it's not going to be DLC or anything like that, you got to think about these things. And, Ben also said it himself that, skateboard would have been kind of a pain to kind of figure out like the move set and stuff like that and animating and all those things, if this were ever be DLC or even in the future game or something, I don't think a skateboard would have worked. So we tossed out the rollerblades, could do a skateboard. Skateboard's a little bit too much. So I thought, it's 10 years in the future. Zan has all this technology and stuff like that. You've seen it with Floyd's arms and his giant cannon and all that stuff. I think he can design some hover boots for Skate. This was also influenced by Sonic Adventure, Shadow the Hedgehog, the soap shoes, and all that good stuff. I thought hover boots would be pretty cool. It's just originally I thought about the parkour shoes that like they did in Bomber Cyberpunk, but then he would still be running around, and I kind of feel like if you're gonna do modern Skate, you gotta really give him that aspect of skating, and I think the hover boots does that perfectly without it being rollerblades, and it's kind of something futuristic looking. I referenced Adam's boots from Streets of Rage 1 for this when I was drawing the sketch. I liked the little yellow things that were on the side. I never knew exactly what that was supposed to be, but I always thought it was cool. So you kind of have that going on here, like on the sides here. You got the yellow things on the side, little yellow circles on the side. Ben spruced it up a lot. Also, you got the strap on the side too. That's another thing that was a reference from Adam's boots. Yeah, Ben really spruced these ones up because mines were a little bare bones looking. And of course, it wraps around his joggers and stuff like that. So that's a really cool thing. Cool way to kind of hide that without making it look like he's wearing skinny jeans or something. Yeah, that's Skate's design. Overall, I can't really think of anything else to point out here. I really like this sprite. Like I said before, I got caught off a little caught off guard. I didn't think he was gonna draw a sprite. I kind of like it. I kind of want to see like how this would look in the game. Like maybe we could make a mock-up or something. Put it alongside. I don't know. Maybe that's too much. I know people are gonna get even more annoyed by that. I think if we do a concept and put the sprite next to two other sprites, hammering it in there. But look. So yeah, about that, I understand the sentiment that like it is a little disappointing to see this design, and it's not going to be DLC. It's not going to be a thing that we're getting to play with. I share the sentiment. I would love for this to be in the game. Honestly, it would be amazing to get this version of Skate and Rue and Zan even in some kind of like new DLC just to kind of wrap things up. I always felt like Streets of Rage 4 was like a send off to the series. Essentially, we waited decades for this game, man. I can't even honestly I can't even think of like what a Streets of Rage 5 would be like. I'm looking forward to Revolution. I hope it turns out good. For the sake of the series and for the sake of a 3D Streets of Rage actually working out. But I do want to see a new 2D Streets of Rage. I want to see a follow up to what Ben and the team have been working on. This is their brainchild. I wanted to see that, and that was the inspiration behind working on this design. This is just the missing piece, because when you think about it, like a vast majority of all the characters from the series have at least had some kind of art, some kind of concept. We had concepts of like even the enemies from Street Rage 2 and 1 and 3. Even Ash, he has a little cameo in the Nora boss fight. He has a little poster. She has a little poster of him. In that boss fight room. So even Ash has something. Rue has a whole sprite. I kind of speculate that maybe Rue was going to be worked on next. If there was going to be another wave of DLC. Speaking of that, I had a design for Zan in mind as well that I thought about approaching Ben with, but he already showed up in the credits. We see him and Mr. X Nightmare. He's got a full blown art, looks really cool. So like there wasn't really a need for his design, but with Skate, there's always been this question of where is he? What does he look like? What does he play like? And I feel like if you can answer 2 out of the 3 questions, I mean that's pretty good, I think, right? That was the inspiration behind doing this design, and yeah, I hope you guys, at the very least, I hope you guys enjoy, what could have been, the design. Yeah, try not to be so hard on the team about it. I know that they wanted to continue working on this, but sometimes things don't work out that way. That's just how the industry goes. And for what it's worth, Street Rage 4 to me is honestly the best we could have gotten. There's some things that I probably would have done differently, or would have updated in a patch or something like that. But honestly, for a series that has had nothing but bangers all throughout, and even something like Streets Rage Remake, which was like a total love letter to the series. Even in fan games, you got Streets Rage X and stuff like that. Yeah, Streets Rage 4 had a lot to live up to, and to just have this one little piece missing, comparative to what could have happened. You see this with other games in the series. I think is a great thing. But yeah, that's Street Race 4 Skate. Um, maybe we'll get a game in the future. Um, that's 2D and stuff like that, and then maybe we'll see this design. Probably not likely. I would imagine if there's a new 2D Streets of Rage, it's probably going to be a completely different design for Skate or something like that. But I mean, if it happened, I'd be happy about it. But yeah, that's it for the video. Yeah, if you watched all the way through, thank you for watching. I guess I'll see you on the next one. I am working on some stuff for Street Rage 4 still, for the anniversary, so look forward to that. I don't think I'm going to be streaming for a while. I've tried numerous times to try to get back into doing that, but stuff's been happening. Of course, and as you know, I'm already working on a bunch of projects and stuff like that. So, yeah, yeah. I hope this explanation of the thought process behind the design at least kind of mends the wound a little bit. Again, I know he's not playable, but this wasn't any type of teaser thing or I know I've been seeing some comments saying that like the team is taunting people, like, no, this is just a work of love from me and Ben and Lizard Cube and the team and stuff like that for the fans. Just to fill in the gap. Skate was a little late. Okay, that's all it was. He's not dead or in jail or any of that weird stuff that people have been coming up with. He's alive. All right, he's alive, kicking, and he's kicking it, man. He's kicking it. He's going to college and doing his thing. You know what I mean? Maybe he'll show up in the next one. And yeah, he looks like. Anyway, sorry. I know I ramble on a little bit. It's going on about 30 minutes, but yeah. Catch you guys later.